Yeah, obviously disappointed in how the outcome was, to go to Wake Forest and lose by 1 point. Thought we could have came out on the other side of that if we would have done a better job of executing some small things throughout the course of the game. The defense played really well. We had several guys that really stood out from every level, from the D line, linebackers to even the secondary. Some guys of notice that I really enjoyed watching them play was Caleb Alford. I think he played almost every snap on the defense side of the ball. Tylen Dunlap at the defensive line position. We had a team meeting this morning. I talked about just haven't seen many defensive line fly to the ball sideline to sideline in the manner in which he did. On the offense side of the ball, got to do a better job of executing. Obviously, the passing game was very subpar. And, Dexter Williams in our passing game, and it's everybody. It's the receivers, it's the O-line. We all got to do a better job of giving him time to, complete some of those balls. And he has to do a better job of making sure he hits the small things at a high level. But overall, Coleman Bennett, Alexander Diggs, those guys ran the ball extremely well, I thought, the entire game. Ran the ball tough, ran the ball hard. We learned a lot about our football team in the Wake Forest game as well. We learned that we are a tough, hard-nosed a team, but we're going to be competitive, I feel like, going forward. And we just got to go back to the drawing board and work on some of the things to try to continue to improve. The execution part is extremely important for us right now. The penalties were an issue as well. I think we had 9 penalties in the course of the ball game. 7 of them were committed on the offense side of the ball. So those are like small things we got to go try to clean up. The missed assignments, offense, defense, and special teams. Those are some of the things that we got addressed this morning as well. So right now, we're just cleaning up those small mistakes. We've kind of put that game to bed, and we're kind of getting ready for Indiana right now.
We'll move on to questions. And just like before, if your camera's on and I can see you, you can raise your hand, or if you want to use the raise hand function within Zoom. Kai, we'll start with you.
Coach, you guys fall short in the weight game. That being said, you were in a game that I don't think many people in the country expected you to be in that long. You come in as 17-point underdogs. I'm just curious as to what the mood in the locker room was like following that one.
I think it's always mixed emotions. You see, we took the team to the wire, but at the end of the day, obviously we played to win the football game. So that didn't happen. But there were great things, a lot of things that we could build off from a positive aspect. But the margin of error they saw on that Friday night is so small from a standpoint of winning and losing football games. Just as easy as we could have won the game just with a couple of small details, we didn't win the game just because of those small details. So those things got addressed, and I think that the team, they saw a little glimpse of what could be if we just go back to work and work a little bit harder and prepare a little bit better.
Emmanuel.
Coach, you talked about the passing game. What expect between now and to the game this weekend against Indiana that you want to see more progression on? Like you threw the ball over 33 times. You would like to get a little bit more completion percentage better. But what are you looking for this week?
I'm looking for our receivers from an alignment standpoint and from the way they attack the secondary to hit their spots and hit their landmarks a lot better. We were expecting guys to be at some spots and be at some places, and they weren't there consistently. I felt like on Friday. I'm also expecting our offensive line to give us a little bit more time, protection to hold up firmer as the course of the game goes. I think you saw the fatigue kind of set in on our guys when we got into the third and fourth quarter. We're going to address that hopefully by getting an opportunity to try to play some more bodies to take some of the reps off some of those guys. There's some guys on this roster that deserve to play and they will play. And then obviously the quarterback position, it kind of starts and kind of ends with him. He's got to do a better job of putting us in some better situations. Not everything is a throwaway. Sometimes he can do a better job of finding those completions on the field and eye progression starting in the right place at the right time. So it's a combination of so many different things. But I think really the biggest thing is all those guys understand what the issues are, and they're willing to make that commitment to try to get that fixed over the next few days.
Kai.
Coach, I'm sure you've gotten a chance to go back and watch it. But Old Dominion played Indiana last week, and they were able to hang in that game for a little while. What were they able to do to sort of slow Indiana down and limit them offensively to stick around in that one?
Yeah, I think the first play of the game says it all. Those guys hit an explosive run, a well-designed midline type play, the first play of the game, and they hit it for about 75 yards or so. I do think too, as the course of the game kind of went on and on, I think they were able to do some things in the passing game as far as attack some of the coverages that Indiana was playing to try to hit some of those open receivers. At the same time, they get let a couple of tip balls and things like that kind of get away from them, or they ran through windows a little bit late, so the quarterback ended up throwing a few interceptions. But if from a standpoint of those guys were there at where they're supposed to be, they were there. They were just a little bit off, which is normal in this time of the year, trying to develop that chemistry and time, and that you're trying to develop with quarterbacks and receivers. I also think as the game went on, I think those guys were able to do a good job of trying to contain Indiana's offense more than anything else. They had a good plan of attack. They kept them off rhythm, disrupted some things. But overall, we learned, we took some things from that game. Some things fit us, some things don't. But I thought that's kind of how they tried to attack Indiana's both on both sides of the ball.
Emmanuel.
Coach, from this game, what did you learn about your team, and what are you looking forward to in going to Indiana next week?
I
This
was
week.
really, yeah, I was really impressed with how hard those guys played. Really defensively for sure. Those guys competed all the way to the end. Got a four down stop late in the game. Offensively, those guys started off extremely hot. We did a good job for a couple of series at the beginning of the game, playing with our style, our tempo. Carried over a little bit in the second half, but just not consistently enough throughout the game. So, like I said, I saw flashes of a team that has a chance to be good, but the consistency is the piece that has to continue to grow for us on both sides of the ball. We got to be more consistent in the special teams as well. We end up having to change kickers probably midway through the game. So, we let about 4 points slip away just because we didn't want to convert on some of those kicks earlier in the game. The thing that we're looking forward to most in Indiana, I just think another chance to get on the grass and compete. These guys are hungry. These guys play with a chip on their shoulder. They understand how important an opportunity like this is to play a team that went to the college football playoffs last year and have a chance to really match their game up against some of the best in the country.
Kai.
Yeah, what does jump out about Indiana offensively? We know they've been explosive. That and have you and Coach Signetti ever crossed paths at any time over your careers?
I have never crossed paths with Coach Signetti. I always kind of watched him from afar. Really respected what he did at Elon. I think I was just leaving. I was in North Carolina 1 year while his first year at Elon, and then followed his career at James Madison, and obviously what he's done last year in his first year in Indiana has been extremely impressive. But the thing that jumps out to me the most about those guys, offensively at least, the quarterback position and the receivers that they have. They have some dynamic, explosive, tall, long guys on the perimeter. Their quarterback, he struggled a little bit, but I mean, we all saw what he did at Cal, and we know the arm talent is real that he has. And then at the running back position, they rotated and they played a couple of guys, but all those guys did a heck of a job breaking tackles. They really imposed their will up front on ODU, rushed for almost over 300 yards. So just from a standpoint of all phases of offensive football, they have a chance to beat you running the ball. They can beat you through the air. So you really got to be oiled up in all your techniques and all your coverages and your schemes.
Questions for Coach? Nolan?
Coach, pass rush was successful against Wake Forest from a variety of different players. What all factored into that?
Coach Bradley's done a great job, and Coach Eastman's done a great job as well. Just getting those guys to be relentless to the ball. You watch the edge and the perimeter guys. Donovan Westmoreland getting a chance, hasn't played a college football game in a few years. Marcus Patterson did a great job. Rod Daniels, and then the young guy, we let Elijah Hill get in there a little bit and get active. We really feel good about Ugonna and just how active and how strong he is at the point of attack. We just got so many different types of skill sets to really keep our offensive line off balance. One time you got a strong guy that's a more of a bull rusher. Then next time you got a guy with pure speed coming off the edge. So that is really a compliment to the guys that work up front, Coach Bradley and Coach Eastman.
You led off the press conference complimenting the work of Caleb Alford. How did you see him develop throughout camp to get to that point where you had a lot of confidence in him going into the game Friday?
The key word when I think about Caleb right now is consistency. The same thing that I saw during camp is the same thing that showed up on Friday night. He was where he was supposed to be, and when he was there, he actually made a real impact from a tackling standpoint or from a coverage standpoint. He's got a great body. He's got great size. We had a meeting today, and I told him, man, like the performance that you kind of put on the other night, if you continue to do that over the course of this year, you're going to make you some money here in about another 6 to 7 months. He has the skill set, and he has the measurables. He's just got to keep growing as a player, from all aspects of the game. He can get better. We all can, but really impressed and really pleased with just the endurance too. For be probably one of the only guys, if not the only, that played pretty much every snap on the defense side of the ball.
You complimented a lot of guys to lead off with. Was there anyone that was a pleasant surprise when you went back and looked at the film?
That was a pleasant surprise.
Hmm.
Dunlap, just the manner in which he flies to the ball on the defense side of the ball. I think he's on the leadership council. He's one of our leaders on the defense side of the ball, in voice and in the way he plays. The manner in which he plays the game, the violence, the intensity that he plays the game with. I think we all try to exemplify that on that side of the ball. On the offense side of the ball, I think somebody that obviously Gabe Binyard did a great job as far as playing the wide receiver position and the things that we asked him to do. But really, more so than anything that I was impressed with Gabe with, he fielded every punt. And sometimes I thought we probably should have got a call from a halo rule at times. And even though we didn't get it, I mean, that guy did a great job. We were able to have great field position because of what he did in the special teams game.
Bennett and Diggs, you complimented them for their ability to run hard, and they had multiple third down runs in the game to keep drives alive. What makes them a hard runner? Is there anything that's similar in how they approach it that leads to them being a hard runner, or anything that's different?
You're going to find this silly, but like when you look at their profile, those guys are two of the smartest academically guys on the football team. Those guys are high GPA guys. Those guys are do-right guys. They're never on any list. They're pretty much 95%, 99% of the time, they're always on time and everything. Like they just don't do a lot of things wrong from a standpoint of off the field. And that's because it's credit to their families and how they were raised. And the thing that you see is it carries over to the football field. Those guys are very detail oriented. They want to know why. They want to know the whys behind what we do. They want to know why we're running the ball right here as opposed to passing it, and understanding how important that is when we ask them to put the ball in the belly to go get those first downs. That is really a compliment to like their understanding of what we're trying to do schematically wise, and just they're tough. They're just tough men.
And lastly, Coach, what's your approach to the kicking game in practice this week?
Yeah, we're gonna keep working all those guys. You never know who gets hot, who gets cold. What may happen from an injury standpoint. Daniel Kenny was really impressed with what he was able to do, come in as a young freshman in a powerful environment and go out there and knock down some points for us. We got to continue to grow and get better in that aspect. The kickoff, obviously, we have to do some different things in that as well. We got to continue to grow and get better at that. We saw we almost had a punt block. We got to clean up some of those the punt team protection. We got to do some things to clean some of those things. So there are tons of things to continue to work on overall. So we're gonna take the same approach we always take, and we're just gonna keep working at those little things. We just got to be more intentional about the things that we know we have to address.
We'll go to Emmanuel and then Kai.
So, the one of the things that I was able to notice this game that you didn't turn the ball over this week. I mean, you did. Williams did have a fumble, but he was able to recover. What overall, I'm impressed with you with your team coming out, being able to not lose the ball and keep the ball on your side of the ball.
Number one key to victory every week when we talk about offensive football. More games are lost than won, and the turnover margin, and I think that is one reason we were able to hang around the game and do some good things throughout the course of the game because we did not turn the ball over. A turnover in that game, either way, probably would have swayed it quicker rather than later, to be honest with you. And our team, offensively, especially, the way they've attacked, holding on to the football from the quarterback position, especially, and then also from the running back position to be able to get to the class and anybody that touches the ball ball. We've been extremely intentional from the time we got here. One of the first things that we do before we started spring football, before we started fall camp, and in the beginning of the week is just talk about the ball security piece. Coach Walt, our running back coach, talks about the ways to carry the ball and the manner in which you want to go about doing that. And we talk about how the ball is everything. That's all our hopes and dreams, and that's everybody's future. And they went out there and they protected it like it was on Friday night.
Coach, we didn't get to see any Chase Belcher on Friday night. Was that a matter of him maybe not being 100%, or was that just how the rotation shook out?
I think more about the rotation. We had plans on playing Chase, to be honest with you. If we would have got in a situation where Diggs or Coleman would have probably been tapping a little bit more or even had more snaps, probably would have ended up seeing some Chase. I think the other thing was the pre week going into the game. He was nursing the injury, so the first day he was 100%. We felt like was like this past Sunday, and so he was a little bit behind from a game plan preparation. So we chose not to go ahead and take that risk, especially for some of the things they were doing from a blitz scheme standpoint, protection wise. We wanted to make sure we put our team in the best situation. But Chase is going to be in the mix. I think he's been pretty healthy so far. I think we should see a good dose of him going forward.
The last thing for me, Coach, he predates your time here by a good bit, but Joshua Hewitt's a guy who, had a great year 2 years ago, lost his starting job last year, stuck around with the program and had a big day on Friday. Just talk about, what his story's been like and, what you've seen out of him.
Josh did a great job the other night. He was one of the guys we recognized this morning when we had the team meeting. The way he was able to flip the field with those punts, the field position that he was able to give us, the compliment to like his hard work. I saw a guy work his butt off all throughout the offseason. From the time I got here, going through the summer camp, he's been somewhat of a vocal leader. He likes the weight room for a punter. Him and Matthew Shoes, they love to get in there and lift a little bit. But just really proud of him and happy for what he did. You can see when you put in hard work and do some of the things that he did, it paid off for him this past week.
Anything else for Coach? Matthew, you want to wrap us up?
Yeah, coach. As my time as a player, we always talked about making a big jump from week one to week two. And you talked about the little things, you want to clean things up. But for an offensive identity perspective, what do you want to see out of your guys heading from week one to week two? Let's make the jump. Let's find out who we're going to be this year.
Yeah, I would like to see the penalties go down significantly. The penalties and the missed assignments, the MAs. We feel like if we eliminate some of those things because we felt like it was a lot of self-inflicted wounds, to be honest with you. We have to eliminate those. And therefore, just doing that is about another 100 yards of offense just hanging out there for us to get. I think the second thing is we want to continue to grow and doing the small things at a high level. We don't want to ask Dex or any of the quarterbacks to do anything so dramatic. They don't have to make the big plays all the time. Just do the small things. Those are the open guy and check the ball down when things aren't there. If it's not there, scramble, keep us ahead of the chains to be efficient. Nothing mind blowing, just simple things at a high level. And I think you'll see that completion percentage go up significantly.
All right. Thanks everyone for joining us, and thank you, Coach Mack.
Thank you guys.